Hello, everybody. Welcome today. In all relationships, I think you have to forgive. I don't think there's any way that these relationships will last unless there's forgiveness. There can be big forgiveness, it can be medium-sized, and then there can be just small little forgivenesses along the way. And people who are not forgiving will often just hit a wall where they just won't be able to forgive it, and then the relationship ends. And you have to work out if you're that person or you're, people who are like that. To forgive is to let go of the blame, let go of the grudges, and let go of the anger and the hurt. Don't wish to punish them anymore. And then when you get to that bit, you've kind of forgive them. There can be forgiveness within the relationship. Sometimes if the friendship is lost, there can be forgiveness afterwards. It doesn't always mean that you go back into the relationship. Perhaps you won't, but you'll just forgive them. And a lot of that is for yourself. You forgive yourself for maybe not being able to maintain it. You forgive them for what they did or you perceive they did. And the forgiveness actually helps you move on. It's really easy not to forgive. There seems to be a lot of pressure in this world to that people pay them back and punish them and teach them a lesson and etc., etc. However, that's not forgiveness. If you can forgive people, you'll actually become a better person. It doesn't mean you're saying what they did is right. You're saying what they did maybe wasn't right, but you forgive that behaviour and you won't try and punish them. And that's the word I think that's really important. You don't try and punish them. Now, when we don't want to forgive people, we usually punish them. We withhold love, we withhold effort, we withhold time. We keep bringing the subject up over and over again. We don't let it go in the sense that it's always there like a big elephant in the room. And that's non-forgiveness when you don't forgive. When you forgive, you say, okay, it happened between us. I particularly didn't like it. I don't think that was done well. It was hurtful. Then you mistreated me perhaps. However, I forgive you for that and I don't want you punished. And that's the important thing. You don't want them punished. If you're still in punishing mode, if you're still talking about them like, I hope that blah, blah, blah happens, or I hope they don't get the job, or I hope that they have this happen to them one day, you're still in punishing mode. You're not anywhere near the F in forgiveness. You're just not there. And that's okay. And sometimes it will take months. Sometimes it will take years. With some people, it might even take decades before you can finally forgive someone for something. Time isn't a healer, but time will actually get you to process your feelings a lot and maybe hopefully release them and then forgive. If you want to stay friends with people, you will be operating in the forgiveness mode quite a lot. You will decide you love them, and so you will forgive that they are always late. You love them, you will forgive them when they forget your birthday one year, and you won't make a big deal about it. You'll forgive them when they come to the party empty-handed at times. There were things that you will easily forgive. However, if the betrayal in a relationship goes into places like cheating or financial betrayal, they take money from you or they lie to you, big, big lies, then the forgiveness will become a harder thing to do. Remember, if you forgive someone doesn't mean you have to be with them anymore. If you think they're toxic and unhealthy friend for you now, you've seen them as they truly are, you can still forgive them, but not choose to spend time or be with them. Some people feel like to forgive is like a powerless thing to do and that you're weak to forgive them because they should be punished, blah, blah. But we're not really here to punish people. We're here to make ourselves better people and try and come from love. And punishing a person is not coming from love. It's a very human thing when it first happens to want to do that because they've really upset you and they've made you feel bad. And that's normal. But whether you continue it is really your decision. It's up to you whether you want to continue that. I feel that some people will not forgive you also if you tell the truth. And I'm going to do podcasts on telling the truth. I found in my life that people want to know the truth. They want to know what you really think. You tell them and then they will punish you afterwards because they don't like what you said. So be very wary of that. There's times to say the truth and there's times to go, I'm not saying anything, this is your decision, you figure it out. And the other way you can get into trouble is if they ask you advice, you give them the advice, they do it, it doesn't work, they'll come back and blame you, and then they will try and punish you, and they won't forgive you. It's important that you know who you're dealing with as a friend. Some people are quite soft-hearted and will forgive, and they don't judge as much. Other people are much more tough and they won't forgive you. And these are the proponents of tough love. They will usually never forgive. And they sort of hold it like a big banner, like a big badge, like I don't forgive people, like it's a good thing. But actually it's not a good thing. It's very bad for your health as well. It's quite poisonous, I think, to carry around all that resent and anger and rage and hate. It's not good for your health. It's not good for your heart, your blood pressure. And I do believe that some of the illnesses people get, cancer and some of the more serious illnesses, come from too much anger, too much hate, too much rage. And that goes with the unforgivingness. Because there's a kind of a steeliness when people won't forgive, it's a stubbornness. And that stubbornness is not good for you to have. Whether you tell them you forgive them or not is up to you. Sometimes there's situations where you can tell them you've forgiven them. Other times you're estranged, you're not with them, you don't want to reconnect. And there could be times when you might just send an email or text and tell them you've forgiven them. The other aspect of the forgiveness is to ask for it for yourself. Now, in a relationship, there's two people, so there's two dynamics. And maybe part of that dynamic of it not working can be you as well. So look to that, and you can ask them that you're sorry for anything you did that upset or hurt them or made them angry, and you ask them to forgive you. And that's a really good thing to do, to take your part in it. Remember, we're standing in two different places. Where they stand is what they see, where I stand is what I see. And there's a really nice little quote which says, how we see things is where we're standing. And that's true, because if you change where you stand, you see it from a different angle. I usually ask if I think I've been part of it. And even if I feel like I've been a very, very small part of the problem, I will still ask for forgiveness, for them to forgive me for anything I did that I didn't realise I'd done, or I did do and I've upset them. So you ask for the forgiveness. So it can go both ways. Often unforgiving people will not give you much back when you say that. They often ignore the text or be flippant about it. I think it's a good opportunity to open the door as well. If you're having trouble in a relationship, you go and you put the olive branch out, you open the door, say you're sorry, and then whatever it's about, and then also ask for their forgiveness. And I think that's very powerful, because some people get into situations they can't get out of, but they miss you and they still want to be with you. They just need a little bit of help to soften it out so they can come back in, because they still want the relationship. They just don't know what to do. That's really what happens. They don't know what to do right now. I hope you can learn to forgive. I feel that it's very powerful in the sense that it's really good for the other person, it's really good for you, and it's a very good health choice, because people who don't forgive tend to get harder and harder and more callous, and I don't think that's actually good for their happy part of their life. They're not going to be happy doing that. Whereas when you forgive and make some resolution, there's more happiness that comes from that and more joy. And then also you finished it off really nicely. Even if the other person wants to have a little spit and never talk to you again, you know that you did it like in a good way. You finished it off nicely. You made an open door. Maybe they don't want to go through it, but that's right. Then you can be at peace with not being in that relationship as well. I hope you can really work on the forgiveness with your friendships. I feel that a lot of friendships need us to forgive within them, and also as time goes by there's more things. People can't always be there for us, remember that. They've got their own stuff going on, and it's not because they are necessarily selfish or don't care. It's just sometimes people get overwhelmed and you need to forgive them for not being able to support you sometimes when you needed it and they weren't there. You sort of have to look at it and think whether you can forgive that as well. I'm a big one for forgiveness. I've had to do it with quite a lot of very difficult people in my childhood life, and then in my marriage, and then with some friends. So I've had a fair bit of practice at how to do it. It's hard when you first start. There's a part of you that's a bit, I don't know, stubborn and doesn't want to do it. But if you can bypass that kind of attitude, it'll be much better, and your life will be happier, and there will be more peace in your heart. And even if things don't work out exactly how you want with your friendship, there's a sort of a peace that you walk away and you did everything you could do to try and fix it or save it. So I hope you have another good week. I hope that these podcasts are helping you. I don't know, talking out into the internet audience. I don't know who's listening or not. It's kind of a weird experience, really. You're just talking to like a big invisible group of people. But I'm hoping on some level this touches your heart and can help you, because I found that this is one of the best things I ever worked at doing and continue to work at doing, because it's not easy to forgive some things, but we can do it. So I'm sending you lots of love for this week.